On today's download, we share 6 things you should ask before launching your next social media campaign, show you how Getty Images visual content can help you slow the scroll, and then we're going live for Q&A covering all things premium access, Getty Images, and social media. The download presented by Getty Images starts now. Hello and welcome back to The Download, presented by Getty Images, your insider's look into the world of visual storytelling and what it means for your marketing and communications. I'm your host, Rachel Brinton-Matthews, Senior Art Director at Getty Images. Thank you for joining us. And as always, I want to extend a special welcome to our Premium Access subscribers. From impactful visuals to unique insights to workflow solutions, we're here to help you get the most out of your Getty Images plan. Thank you for being a customer. After today's presentation, we'll be going live to answer all your premium access, Getty Images, and social media questions. So please submit any that you may have in the Q&A below. And now on to the show. To say that social media is a must-have for today's brands would be a bit of an understatement. But do you understand why and how social media can help deliver on your business goals? Here to share the 6 questions you should ask before launching your next social media campaign is Getty Images VP of Global Entertainment, Kirsten Benson. Over to you, Kirsten.
Thank you, Rachel. I'm Kirsten Benson. Thank you for being here today. And today we are talking about social media. Specifically, why do some campaigns pop and others just not? Is there a key to producing social media that lands with our desired audiences and has that desired impact? While there might not be a magic pill, there is a magic question. And it seems so simple, but you'd be surprised by how often it's left unanswered. But before we get into any of that, why does all of this matter so much? Well, social media content is more important than ever. Nearly all of us are using some kind of advertising avoidance strategy, and that number is on the rise. So how do we reach people? Well, we reach them through social media. So how did we get here? Thanks to the proliferation of social media, we all have means of distribution for that content that we're creating. Everyone is a creator thanks to our mobile phones. Everyone can reach an audience, and this has given rise to what we call the faceless publisher. Now, this is the best news ever for brands. Brands no longer have to wait for their commercials to run or have to be dependent on the media to run their stories. There's no more middleman. Brands have all the power. But reality often looks less like the finale of a fireworks show and more like a tangled cat's cradle. It's a blessing and a curse. Who here has been overwhelmed by the sheer number of platforms available to us? What about the sheer number of ways we can create content? On top of that, producing social media content often runs into these issues. Disjointed content, short on time, hard to prove ROI, all sorts of things. And these come with the territory. But our goal is to stop posting and praying when it comes to social media. And in order to do that, we have to strike the perfect balance of the social media trifecta. Achieving a balance between these 3 things is critical to success. Today, we're going to lead with the content and then also touch on distribution and data through the content lens. We get super jazzed to talk about creative, how the content is going to look and how it's going to feel. But before we can do that, we have to take a pause and build on a foundation. This is an acronym that I've heard used primarily as community agreements during discussions, but I love it for content creators too. Why am I talking? All right, so with that, we are going to dive into the framework with that core question that I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation. This is something that I've developed through the course of hundreds of social media campaigns, both organic and paid, on behalf of brands. Before we can dive into any content or distribution strategy, we need to answer the question, why? And how often do you hear, oh, I want to go viral, or I'm doing this because we just want to be authentic. No. Instead, ask yourself, what is our goal for this campaign? What is our desired outcome? And with that, you need to get specific. So is it to sell product? Is it to grow community, drive registration, shift perception? These are all specifics. And you also need to identify your core objectives and define success for the campaign. So are you trying to reach people, get earned media, have engagement, customer acquisition, employee satisfaction? All of these things are specific outcomes from your campaign that you need to define. And halo objectives are fine. So someone might say, well, I'm trying to do all these things. That would be great. Sure. But what is your core objective for the campaign? If you don't identify it, you'll have a disjointed campaign. And then once you have that gold star, the why answered, you can move into the who. And how often have you heard, this is a universal story. It's really for everyone. Everyone can relate to this. And sure, it might have universal themes, but we have to get specific. Everyone might see it. So your investors might be on Instagram and your customers might be seeing your business reports on Reddit. But at the core, at the basis of the whole thing is, who is this directed for initially? And only once you've identified the why and the who should you move on to the what. And the what should cater to your who. It should share their language. It should validate them. It should establish a rapport. And at that point, you determine based on the who and the what and the why, the where, the where, and the where, and the where. I mean, there could be dozens of wheres. These days, there are so many options when it comes to programming channels on platforms. It's rare that we're creating for one channel alone. And I put these multiple wheres on here just to stress the importance of treating each location separately, but still tying back to the same core. Gone are the days where we can just have straight syndication of the exact same thing to every single platform. So let's talk where. First of all, you need to go to your audience. Where are they? It's not enough to just go where they're congregating. You also have to fit in with their behavior, and this goes for your audience too. You actually have to know them. You have to see them. And if you don't know your platform, here's the best case scenario. You sound out of touch, you sound foreign. But worst case is you come across as performative and you offend, and we don't want to do that. So take down this platform life hack. And this is something that I do personally that has pretty much changed my life when it comes to distribution and understanding where things go. Set a recurring calendar reminder for once a month and go through the top 100 free apps in the App Store or the Google Play Store. Download any apps that you're not familiar with. Spend 5 minutes in the platform. Just pay attention to the communities and how they're gathering. How are people sharing information? How are they interacting with it? How is the content shared? How is it discovered? Does the app support leaving the platform, or does everything happen natively? Once you've done this, then you can finally dig into the what, and that's the content. So what's going to most effectively lead your audience to your desired outcome or your why? How does your audience interact in that space? And some of these examples might be informational, contest, humor, memes, interactive, tell a story, offer service, inspire through your stories. And there's actually a science to why stories are so impactful when it comes to brand marketing. There's 4 things that are happening in your brain when you hear a story. So a story activates part in your brain that allows listeners to turn the story into their own ideas and experiences thanks to a process called neural coupling. Listeners not only experience a similar brain activity to each other, but also to the speaker, and this is called mirroring. Plus, the brain releases dopamine when it experiences an emotionally charged event, which makes it easier to remember and with greater accuracy, which is really important if you're trying to be a brand influencing people. And then cortex activity. So when you're processing facts, 2 areas of your brain are activated. But a well-told story can engage many additional areas, including the motor cortex, the sensory cortex, and the frontal cortex. So the too long didn't read version of all of that is stories can be 22 times more memorable than just facts alone. And now we get to the how. How do we create content, especially in the age of COVID? Tap into your archive. Many times we're sitting on gold and we don't even realize it. Dust off those old VHS tapes, those old photo albums, revisit prices or best practices from ages ago. It makes for outstanding social media content. Get personal. We talked about stories being more memorable than facts. Don't be afraid of humanizing your brand by giving your audience a glimpse behind the curtain. Show off your remote working setup, introduce your employees. In other words, show us how the sausage is made. We care. User-generated content can also be a very effective way of programming your channels, especially right now when your audience might have more bandwidth to create or might be a more captive audience. And then you can always allow the team and me at Getty Images to bring your what to life, either with existing content that we can license to you or we can produce bespoke content for you. I want to take a minute and talk briefly about that third piece of the social media trifecta, data. With the boom of social media came a proliferation of performance metrics. And what I find happens so often, particularly in small businesses or teams with limited resource, is the data is overwhelming or just totally lacking context. It's not always easy to tie everything together. Other times, teams are over-indexing when it comes to data and using it to drive their creative. And I don't need to tell this group that driving content decisions entirely from metrics is the kiss of death. So how do we solve this? One way of marrying these two very different worlds is to have a monthly or regular scheduled content audit. I really like how the team at Heinrich brings this concept to life. So the posts that you're seeing on the screen right now are mocks for the sake of examples. Pull your visuals, so screenshots of your content from that period you're examining, so from that month or from that quarter. And first, have the creative team go through and pull anything that didn't capture the brand identity or was maybe a miss from a design perspective. And then use your metrics or have your analytics team identify the poor performance from a metrics POV. So the content that's left in the middle is illustrative of what strikes the balance between creative and data. And now, do more of that. So to recap, what did we learn? What can we take from going back to basics and building a foundation? Well, first of all, stop assuming you're on the same page with those who you're creating content with and get specific about your why. Stop trying to reach everyone at once. Instead, really know your audience. Please stop it with the gotcha mentality. Begin at a place of service. You're making people's worlds better. Stop syndicating everything everywhere and instead curate the experience by destination. So let's make a pact. No more post and pray. Let's stop throwing away hard work, energy, and money on social media that doesn't stick. Instead, start with the why. Thank you. All right, Rachel, back to you.
Thank you, Kirsten. That was fantastic. We'll be back after this, everyone.
From bold ideas flow brilliant creative, and nothing should stand in the way of that. Now with this updated Getty Images plugin, you can work with the world's best images and video without ever leaving your Adobe design programs. That means no more flipping between windows. Incorporating stunning imagery has never been easier. Simply sign in with your Getty Images account, search to find the right visuals, or access your existing boards. Drag and drop high-resolution comps of videos and images right into your design. Then work your magic with 4K video, vivid photography, or vector images to perfect your creative before purchasing. And when you're ready, license the asset directly within the program. Any edits you've made are automatically saved. No re-downloading or redesigning necessary. Save time, reduce hassle, simplify your process. Download the Getty Images plugin for Adobe Creative Cloud today.
Now that we've seen what you should be thinking about before your next social media campaign, let's see how Getty Images can help you put this into practice. To do this, we'll bring back Kirsten and we welcome to the show Bill Bond, Director of Creative Content at Getty Images. Welcome to the show, Bill.
Thanks, Rachel. Appreciate the introduction. So I'm here today to show you guys how you can search on gettyimages.com to find the right content for your social media campaigns. And Kirsten, I think maybe we can go over your 6-question framework for some examples of how we can find that the right content.
I think that sounds great. So the 6-question framework can be applied across any industry, across any product, but for the sake of today's example, let's do a healthcare company. So let's pretend like we're the healthcare company. We're driving registration in our health savings plan. And the who in this case is millennials. And mostly through an awareness, I think, informational campaign around the healthcare savings plan. And we know that millennials congregate on social media in general, but Instagram stories have been quite popular lately. So let's keep that as our destination for now. So where would I start if I were trying to find the right content on Getty?
Well, great. When I first start to look for content, I always want to make sure that I look at our Creative Insights Visual GPS. Now, you can access the Creative Insights Visual GPS by the hamburger menu on the left side of the homepage and going down to Creative Insights. If you go to this page, you're going to find a wealth of information on upcoming visual trends, and it really helps me decide where I want to begin with an image search. So for this particular case, there's this great article around Generation Z and millennial wellness. And reading this article, the main takeaways for me around this are 2 things. Millennials and Gen Z do connect with imagery and video that shows their age group actually interacting with traditional healthcare providers. And also, they find their mental health and wellness very important. So I think that let's go into the search and see how we are able to show those 2 types of concepts through the premium access subscription. So first, I'm going to begin searching by keyword. So I'll go millennials and healthcare. So I start with a simple Boolean search. Now the first thing I want to do is make sure that I come over to the left side of this menu and make sure my premium access account is turned on. This will make sure that I'm going to see all the imagery or video that I'm able to use for my particular agreement. So here are some of the search results for millennials and healthcare. Now you'll see a wide range of concepts shown across this content. Everything from working out to being physically fit and taking care of the health that way, to meeting with healthcare providers, to just going about daily life, making sure that you are fit and active and enjoying life to its fullest. Now, one of the things that I want to say is that it's really important to make sure that you represent a wide range of people across your campaigns. So make sure that as you begin to go into your search, you realize who you're using in your picture and what audience you're trying to connect to. So from the Visual GPS article, another thing that was really important was mental health, right? So I'm going to switch over and change my search. So I'm going to go from millennials and healthcare to millennials and mental health. So when I look at this search, you'll see that I have a lot of graphic representations of how I can show this concept. And so it gives me a wide range of how I want to speak to my audience. I can be bold, colorful, powerful, or I can be more literal where I'm showing people working out or spending time with their friends and family. And again, I'm able to show a wide range of faces and demographics and regions throughout the search. And that's really important when I'm trying to convey the sense of speaking to a wide audience that is on social media. Now, from our research, we also know that millennials often really resonate with imagery on social media that shows people interacting with their pets. A lot of pets are like family now. So let's see what types of results we get when we search social media and pets. And let's change it up as well. We know that video drives a lot of engagement on social media, especially Instagram stories. So let's see what we have for millennials and pets. So here you'll see an interesting range of content. Some of it is very funny. You'll have people working out with their animals, using them almost like exercise equipment, people going about their daily lives, enjoying the animals just like they were another family member within their home. And also people taking road trips and vacations with their pets. Some really fun, spontaneous pictures and videos that you will be able to use to really drive and engage your audience. So one of the things that I wanted to show too was our vertical video. And by searching vertical video, you'll have a lot of great options come up. These are specifically in a format super friendly for social media, whether you're on Instagram stories or trying to put an ad campaign into TikTok video. These are a wide range of content here that feels spontaneous, authentic, and quite honestly, humorous and funny at times. That makes adding this kind of video content to your social media campaign super easy. So with that, Kirsten, do you maybe have another example that we could search for?
I do, although I could watch that pet content all day long. I guess call me a millennial. And also, I love the vertical video has that user-generated content feel in a lot of cases, which is so helpful on Instagram stories and TikTok in particular. So let's actually keep with the same healthcare theme. We're the same company, but this time around, we're trying to increase the healthcare brand awareness with senior citizens in Europe. So where would I start with that?
Well, you start your search in a similar way. So I would come right to the front of the search on the Getty Images homepage. And I'm going to give you guys a tip. I'm going to search by a special keyword called disrupt aging. And will bring up all the content from our disrupt aging collection. So this collection is in partnership with AARP in the US, but this is a global collection. And what we're trying to do is show seniors living their best lives in everyday life, and showing a variety of faces and regions and locations that people are based. So I would first start with this Disrupt Aging collection. And here I'm going to see a lot of content that's going to work well for social media. Whether it's people having fun on a road trip, to people who are, kind of standing out, living their lives to the fullest when they're older, whether, within a swimming group or involved in a football club, or even other shots of them, simply engaging with their friends, engaging with technology. These are the types of images that resonate with customers on social media, and I have a wide range of things that I can choose from here. So one of the things that I think you mentioned in your 6 questions was that this was going to be focused on Europe. So what I want to do is, because Disrupt Aging Collection is global, I want to focus in on Europe specifically. So I'm going to go up to the search bar. I'm going to say, and Europe. And from there, I'm going to see now the search results are going to be tailored specifically for that region that I'm looking for. So though you'll see some of the same images at the beginning of the search, as you begin to go deeper, you'll see a wide range of things that you'll be able to select for your campaign that begin to show now just content from Europe. Now let's be even more specific for a moment and say Europe is too broad for your use, and you really just want to look for seniors who are, say, in Germany, right? That's something that's very important, being targeted. So let's look over at the left-hand side of the page, and you'll see locations. Click on locations and expand the menu. And here you can choose from a wide range of countries to see content from. So I'm going to click on Germany. And now you'll see the search results again, filtered specifically down to the region that you're looking for. So this can be really helpful when you're working on that element of being super targeted, knowing your audience, and making sure you're speaking to them in the right way, in imagery or video that they feel that they can relate to.
Specificity is key, so I'm so glad you touched on that. It's mission critical for successful social media.
Yeah, it truly is. Hey, listen, do you have any more examples while we have our audience that we can maybe go through to show them how they can find the content that they want to use in their campaigns?
Yeah, you know what? Let's change up the industry and go to the world of finance. And the why in this case is driving downloads for a finance app. And there might be a couple who's. So this is going to be, I'm throwing one at you, Bill. There's baby boomers versus millennials.
Mhm.
So we know we have two different who's, and we might have to reach them in different ways, but the why is still the same. So it's driving downloads for this finance app. And we're going to do it through, I guess, a promotional campaign promoting the app and how easy it is to use. And go.
Okay, well, this is a bit of a tricky one, but let's try it out. So the first thing I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to reference the Creative Insights Visual GPS. I found this great article around the rise of mobile devices in finance. And so after reading through this article, I really came to learn that people are using their mobile phones and digital technology to interact with financial companies in many different ways on the go. And this isn't just one specific age group. Both boomers and millennials tend to use digital technology to connect to their financial institutions. So with that in mind, let's begin the search. So I always like to start my search as broad as possible. So I'm going to start it with living with technology. Okay. So from there, you end up getting a huge range of content to choose from. Now, for me, we have these two different kind of groups that we're looking for. And this search is a little bit too broad. I'm seeing everything here. And though I like what I'm seeing, I know that I want to be very targeted in what I'm doing so that I can speak to the right audience. So again, what I want to do is jump over to the left-hand side of the search and begin looking at using the filters here to narrow down my choices. So first, I'm going to jump right into age, and I'm going to focus on the boomers kind of group first to see what content comes up. So I'll switch it over here, and now I'm seeing results that are tailored specifically to who I'm trying to speak to. Now this will save me a lot of time because now that we're narrowed down to a greater extent, I'm seeing a wide range of content across the globe with different faces, different looks, different concepts, and again, I have a lot of choice to choose from here. So now that we found the examples for the kind of senior demographic that we're looking for, now I'm going to switch it up to look for millennials. So I'm going to come over here to the left-hand side of the search, turn off senior adult, and turn on the young adult filter. And now you'll see how the search results change. You'll see young adults in a wide range of lifestyles, from starting families to being single, being out having fun, bright, colorful images. It gives me a lot of opportunity to select different looks depending on the audience that I'm looking to target on social media. So those are some of the ways that I like to use to search on Getty Images for the content that I'm looking to resonate with my specific audience for my social media campaigns. I just want to say thanks for having me today on the show. I hope you found this information useful. If there's one thing I can tell you, make sure that you visit the Creative Insights Visual GPS before you start your search so you can understand how best to approach your situation and the audience you're trying to target. And with that, I want to say back to you, Rachel. I'll see you in a few minutes for the Q&A.
Thank you, team. Some amazing social content wins there. All right, viewers, it's time to get your questions ready. We'll be back with our live Q&A after this.